I feel like I'm ready to leave my marriage to my husband. Not long after I posted my original post, my husband called me to tell me he had ended up losing the job he abandoned me for. He doesn't have a good track record with work, just in general has been seen as lazy act, so this wasn't shocking but was a complete slap in the face. Maybe I'm being harsh, but I felt let down again. As soon as he lost the job, he immediately started talking about how he was going to move in with me. I became sick to my stomach because I did not want him here. I felt and still feel like a fallback option. I wasn't his priority in the first place, but now that he is down on his luck, it's just easier for him to move here and start over with my help. I told him to not look at jobs here right away and look where he is, and he somewhat agreed. After about a week of us not talking, he messaged me out of nowhere telling me that he had found a job in my area that was a great opportunity. He used the same wording he had used with the job he had just lost. I was talking with a friend when he sent the message. She told me point blank, talk to him now, or he is going to show up on your doorstep and you are going to be stuck in this situation for another few years, and you promised yourself you would talk to him this week. She was 100% right, so I went and talked to him. I told him everything, how I felt, how I am feeling, how heartbroken I am, how his issues and his treatment of me have pushed me over the edge. He realized that a lot of what I said was things I had already brought up. He did own up to some things, yet not everything. I had given him a million chances during the conversation to tell me the things I should improve on because I am well aware I am not blameless. I should have talked to him more, etc. The only thing he could think of was the fact that I don't incite/participate in sex with him. I brought up my issues with sex and my insecurities. He said he understood. But I don't think he understood how much it affected me, from my past trauma and other bad experiences, and how he never made me feel better. I then brought up how I hate how much porn he watches. Side note, I don't hate porn, I just think excessive use can be bad, and how it gave him an unrealistic expectation of sex. He said, I feel like I have to watch it to get turned on to have sex with you. That comment made my stomach drop, and my already low self-confidence deep dive even lower. Also, I knew this was a complete lie, as he never initiated sex after watching porn, not once. I knew right then I was done. How could I even consider repairing this when he feels like he needs to watch other people to get turned on enough to have sex with me? Mind you, he would casually watch porn without jerking off or anything. This man always had porn open like a Spotify playlist. He is trying desperately to keep me, messaging me constantly how much he loves me, making YouTube playlists of songs, sending me flowers, etc. But it's all too little, too late in my eyes. He's also downplaying the situation to his closest friends and family, just chalking it up to me being upset with him. All of this just makes me more upset, anxious, on edge, and quite frankly mad. I already started filling out paperwork to file for divorce when I am 100% ready, and will be asking him to stop texting me as much, particularly all the lovey-dovey out of character stuff, and sending me things this week. This whole thing has been a lot, but I am grateful for everyone who took the time to send me words of encouragement. I have realized, and am continuing to realize, my self-worth, and I know I am worth so much more than a man who never tried in our whole 8 years of a relationship up until now. There's more I could get into, but I think I'll leave it here. Thank you all again for all your kind words and advice. Final, I feel like I'm ready to leave my marriage to my husband. After almost months and even weeks of simply not communicating with each other, I got a text from him out of the blue. He stated that he was in a tough spot financially and needed help, particularly with some car repairs that had popped up. Now, if you've read my last post, then you wouldn't be surprised to find out that I knew that these issues with his car were not a surprise and more something being put off until it became too late. Regardless, I was livid and upset at reading this message after months and weeks of no correspondence. I had given up on messaging or calling since I felt that I was the only one reaching out, or just simply checking in. So I messaged him just that. I told him how upsetting it was to only hear from him when he needed something, or when things got to a point where he needed help. His response, unsurprisingly, was to say he did try and reach out to me but that I refused to meet or talk. Not true. And how long was he going to be punished for everything? That he thought he was making a good effort, all the flowers, etc. He even goes as far to say that the job he had, and was fired from, was similar if not harder than mine, not that it was a competition to begin with, and that my job allows me more freedom to pick and choose my time off. Which both of those statements could not have been farther from the truth. He just kept making up excuses as to why his job went wrong, and honestly the rest of his message rambled on about wanting to talk once a week, and to let go of uncommunicated expectations. Mind you, this was all in one text message, and in response to me saying no to giving him money and why I wouldn't give him the money. Did I mention he was asking for up to $3,000? My response, despite my rage, was diplomatic. At least I felt it was, and I owned up to my mistakes in regards to our relationship. At the end of it, I simply just said the reality is, I'm not making my future plans on us being together. He only replied by thanking me for my honesty and if he could have time to think and process the information. Mind you, he's had months, over a year in fact, at this point. I said fine. A month passes by and he tells me he finally got a job, which I was really happy to hear. We made awkward small talk before I had to get on with the things I was doing that day. Finally, once things calmed down for me with my work trips and my planned vacations, I contacted a lawyer a couple weeks ago, and asked him all the questions I had to start the process of divorce. I called my husband and we talked, and I finally said it was time for us to be honest with each other and realize it was time to end our marriage officially. To my surprise, he agreed, and was pretty calm and diplomatic about it all. This past week I talked with my lawyer and we started the process officially. I've paid all the fees, and now just wait for it to be official. Thank you to everyone who gave their support and advice throughout this whole process. Means a lot that a group of complete strangers could be so supportive. Side note, I'm exercising at least twice a week now with a personal trainer, Trying to gain my self-confidence and slightly get that post-divorce revenge bod, haha, let's be honest. My coworker kissed me and I feel guilty because I have a boyfriend. I, 23, work in a field of just men. No joke, I'm the only girl. They treated me as one of the guys and never any different. We would talk about everything you can think of. And yes, I mean everything, no matter how personal it is. Always there for each other no matter what the situation is. One even picked me up acting like he was my dad on a bad date as the guy I was with would not shut up. So he picked me up and dropped me off home. Now the situation at hand. I had to leave my job for personal reasons and my work best friend, 31 and call him Jay, was sad to see me go. We always talked about everything and he was my go-to if I knew the guys would make fun saying him just being a girl. Couple of days ago we were talking and I cried how I loved it there. I didn't feel left out and I loved the work. After that conversation we ended up going into how his marriage sucks and how he wishes it was better. I responded the same way, saying he just needs to work on it and maybe take his wife out as we never really have days off. Jay asked how my new relationship is going and I did say it was going great and I love how he doesn't mind I work in a field of only men. That he respects what I do and I love the open communication no matter what it is. That we both know we don't mind being friends with our exes as long as they respect us, we don't care. So I'm very hopeful it works as this new job I'll finally be able to spend more time with him. Jay asked if we can still be friends outside of work and I said of course, as there wouldn't be a problem with it as long as he keeps respecting my relationship. We never had problems before. As I was cleaning my locker I turned around and Jay kissed me. Lip to lip. I froze cause I was shocked. Once I snapped back I smacked him so hard he now has a bruise and I felt so dang guilty about it afterwards. Called my boyfriend cause I just didn't know what I should do. He said to just stay away from him the rest of the day and just hung out with my other coworkers and my boss and not say anything since I'm leaving anyway. So I did for a while. Worst part is Jay's in-laws work with us. I couldn't even look at them in the face. The day went on and just stayed quiet until the brother-in-law asked me what was wrong. He noticed how I wasn't being my usual goofy self when they came back from lunch. I looked at him and ended up breaking. I told him how bad I felt and that I feel like it's my fault even though I wasn't the one who kissed him. He gave me a hug and said I should have said something sooner but he understands. Well, now the soon-to-be ex-wife is blowing up my phone and I just feel lost. I'm here with my boyfriend as I write this and he knows I just need to vent it somewhere. She want to meet up and I don't want to be part of it anymore. I want to meet her and tell her what happened step by step, but then I don't want to as I don't want to cause any more problems. I'm already sick enough and I don't know. Please don't bash me, but I would really appreciate opinions about how I should handle this. Thank you. My coworker kissed me and I feel guilty because I have a boyfriend. So in the light of everything, let me get some points across as I have calmed down. Everything in the post is true. On the other note, for messages saying it's bad to be one-on-one with a coworker that's male needs to understand I was one-on-one with all of them at different parts of the day. We do different tasks. I work in the oil field industry. Also, all the guys' wives, including Jay's, had no problem with me since they met me at a company function. Yesterday all hell just broke loose, so all the other girls are livid at not me but him. Yeah, I maybe should have talked to him first, but at the end of the day everyone knows where I stand. Jay and his wife have been messaging me all night. She met up and Jay messaged stuff I do not want to repeat. After having a long conversation with my boyfriend I did decide to drop it and just move on. But this morning I did get a call from HR saying that he filed a report of assault for the bruise on his face. I explained what happened and they said they need proof, so I plan on going to HR and hand in my phone so they can see nothing being edited out later this afternoon. I don't feel guilty anymore and I did message the group chat with the other wives and coworkers that I want to leave them all behind me as I personally don't want to be reminded of what happened and it'll probably be best. So last I left off I was meeting with HR/corporate. Everyone was there. And it lasted all day. Jay, his wife, brother-in-law, boyfriend, was in the car till I called him in, and then all the HR staff. At first everyone but my boyfriend was there. They started off asking for his view. He said she was cleaning her locker. We talked like normal. About how she feels about leaving, has she gotten any better, how my kids are, but when I offered to help her she turned around and smacked me. They looked at me and I said that is total crap. Here are the messages, call records, and everything you can find on my phone. I will gladly leave it. We were having our normal conversation but when I turned around he planted one. I did freak the hell out a second until I snapped back and smacked the hell out of him. Am I wrong? Maybe. Do I regret it? At first I did but not anymore. I was gonna leave it as is and just start my new job. Maybe I should have reported it right when it happened but I just didn't know what to do. But since he is trying to get me to assault y'all to ruin my chances of coming back I will report it. So here's my form and my proof. When they ask questions about what led up to it and why haven't I said I wasn't comfortable with any of the guys. I said that is out of this topic and I was never uncomfortable with anyone, especially him, until that incident. After that I stayed away from him. You can ask brother-in-law name. He will tell you. They said they just don't believe this, that they have never had a problem with him before due to working with him for 6 years compared to me with only 1 year. I said just bring the bill in and I'm sure he will tell you. If he doesn't I'll drop the whole thing. They had us wait for about 30 minutes until Bill came in and did verify after lunch that day I was very different and just left it at that. After his statement they left me in the room with Jay and his wife. She stood up and tried to get in my face saying I need to drop it and just leave. That's when I called my boyfriend in. He was in the car watching TV. He did offer to come in at first but I said no and if needed I'll call him in. They sat back down once he came in and Jay just talked. Please just drop it. I didn't mean it. You said you and boyfriend were having a hard time and you felt like you needed an escape so I kissed you. I'm sorry, I felt bad and figured you needed closure. To say the least, my boyfriend was mad at him but in a calm manner said, I got you on the recording, but if she was having a hard time with me, why did she call me right after it happened and cry when she came home? Are you that stupid? Jay tried to backtrack, but my boyfriend grabbed me and helped me back to the car and said wait. I'm not sure what all was said or what happened after because he went back inside and hasn't said anything about it even when asked. But what I do know is Jay is banned from working at the company ever again and is on his work record. If I ever want to go back, I'm more than welcome. But I think I'll just stick where I'm at. I already met the new crew and they seem great. I do not want to go back to a company if they did not believe me with the proof in the first place. At the end of the day, thank you everyone for your words of advice, as I will take them with me. This was a learning experience and hopefully never happens again. My boyfriend put a girl through the same trauma I went through. When I was 18, I gave my virginity up to a friend I trusted because I was coming out of a history of abusive relationships and wanted to experience sex on my own terms. I also didn't want to hit 19 without having sex. My friend and I were close for years before agreeing to do this. It was no strings attached. We went in with the mentality of do it once and go back to normal. We had feelings for each other and had always considered it but never acted on it. We had sex once and he never spoke to me again. Blocked me everywhere. It made me lose a lot of trust in people, and I was very afraid of being used for years. Cut to recently, my boyfriend and I have been dating for a year and we've had a few problems but nothing we haven't been able to work through. I knew he had a questionable history as well, being beyond highly promiscuous in college. Additionally, I knew he had cheated a time or two in the past on his exes. All of this was workable as it was months before I met him and he had been cheated on, giving him what I thought was perspective and reason to change. We haven't had such problems, however, recently things have been rough, to the point where I had to look through his phone with him sitting beside me. There, I found a less workable piece of his past. Towards the end of his first-year college whore phase, he had started talking to a 17-year-old. He was 19, not that big of a gap but contextually significant. I don't know if he was just desperate or what, but he knew this girl worshipped the ground beneath his feet, and so he led her on. Told her how special she was. First date he took her virginity, then he ghosted her. She called and texted him for weeks asking why he was doing this, why he used her, what she did wrong. Feelings I was familiar with. In all the texts he gave no signs of being uninterested. This was a few months before we met. His best friend had mentioned her previously, referring to her as the obsessive ex, but I don't think he knows the full story. I won't tell him, but I don't know how to handle this information. He did to this girl exactly what was done to me and then ruined her reputation after the fact. On top of that, he knows that happened to me. How do I go about processing this? I think he's changed since then, but it doesn't erase that it happened. Edit. A lot of PPL are getting confused, but I was not the one to initiate the idea with my friend. He suggested that he be the one to take my virginity, so it would be someone I know and trusted. I didn't coerce or use him. I didn't talk him into anything. We had also clearly stated that we would continue to be friends after this. When I say he used me, there wasn't a gray area in my mind about it. It wasn't an innocent suggestion or lack of communication. He brought it up and suggested it and I was stupid enough to believe he'd have integrity about it. Edit 2. Some people are suggesting this isn't considered trauma, but I'd like to make it clear up here that my ex, right before the incident with my friend, had used drugs and alcohol to try to coerce me into having sex under the influence. I caught him trying to put my anxiety medication in my drink. I felt used and violated by him only to have the incident with my friend only a few months later.